Hello students, welcome to Learner's Planet. In today's session, we are going to start with a new chapter, that is cell, structure and its functions. Fine. Now this is your introductory or the very first session of this chapter. So basically you all must be knowing that we all are the living organisms. Till now you have already studied the differences between the living and the non-living things, right? So of course these living things, they are able to self-control, they are able to self-regulate various functions which can keep them alive in the given set of conditions. This is what we basically mean by the living things, isn't it? The things that can grow themselves, right? Or which can show some metabolic reactions, right? They can reproduce. So these are the basic characteristic features of the living things which are not shown by the non-living things. Now, of course, you all know that living organisms, they are made up of cells, right? So, picking this particular point, let us start with this particular chapter. So, students, you must have seen some different type of organisms in your surrounding, and that is of course for sure. Plants, animals, then different types of plants, different types of animals. Besides them, there are various organisms which could not be seen with the naked eyes, isn't it? And such tiny organisms, they are known as the microorganisms. So whatever is the type of organism, one practical fact is there that all these organisms, they are different from each other. Definitely they are different, therefore they are having different types of names, and they are having different types of functions, structure and so on, right? So these organisms, they differ from each other structurally and functionally, but despite of all these differences, that is adding to the diversity of living organisms in our surrounding, despite of these differences, they all are made up of cells, and this is the common thing among all of the living organisms. Each and every organism, they all are made up of cells, and it is these cells which is responsible for carrying out different basic functions in that particular organism. If these cells are not functioning properly, definitely the functions, they are going to be hindered, and or they are going to be disturbed, and therefore the organism may suffer from different types of problems, right? You yourself is a living organism, so you can practically feel that thing. If there is any difference in the function, right? Suppose you are having the fever, if you are having the vomiting or different types of things, or even if you are feeling so much tired or fatigued, all these are because of the changes in the functions. And how this change in function is going on? It is because of the disturbance in certain biochemical activities going on inside the cells. So this basic thing, it should be clear to you that these organisms, they all are made up of cells, and these cells, they are of different types in different organisms. That may happen, basic similarities are there, right? But according to the function in a particular organism, or a particular function within an organism, these cells are of different types. Fine. So from these basic things, now we can define this structure or the cell as the basic structural and functional unit of an organism or of an organ. I have written here simply organ, but we can initially we can use the term organism instead of this organ. You know why? Because each organism, these organisms, they can be either unicellular or they can be multicellular, isn't it? Now if it is a multicellular organism, then what do you think? See, before that I should say, if it is a unicellular organism, then definitely that organism is made up of a single cell. And what is this organ? Organ is a group of different types of cells which are functioning together, which are working together to perform certain function. But in the case of unicellular cell, or unicellular organism, there is only a single cell which is performing all different types of function. So the organ word could not be used over there. So it is better to use the term organism instead of this organ, right? This is just by mistake I've written here. So the point is, in the multicellular organisms, I'm sorry, cells, they are constituting the tissue. Then the different types of tissues, they are working together and they are forming a single structure that is known as the organ. Then organ, it further there are different types of organs which are functioning together to carry out a particular function, and that group of different organs is known as the organ system, isn't it? So in the multicellular organisms, they, as we are saying, there are different functions which are carried out by different types of cells or the tissues or the organs. Definitely the cell is going to be of different kind depending on the type of the function, right? And if the function is different, definitely there must be some structural changes also in these particular cells. So after this discussion, I hope this definition is very clear to you. Let us just concentrate on these terms now here. Basic. Why we are calling this cell as a basic unit of life? The reason is because each organism begins its life as a single cell only. Whether it is a unicellular organism or a multicellular organism, initially its life begins in the form of a single cell only. So the cell is forming the base for the development of an organism. Fine. Then comes the structural, because whatever structure is there in an organism, see the entire body structure, or you can concentrate or you can focus on a single organ or any part, whatever shape, whatever structure is there, it is all maintained by the cell only. So it is known as the structural unit. For the functional unit, because all of the functions, they are carried out within the cell only. It is this cell which is the site of various chemical reaction, and those chemical reactions, they are responsible to carry out a particular function. For example, that must be very clear, common to you. It should be very clear in your mind. It is that see what happens when we breathe inside. The air goes inside, right? And then what happens out of that? Oxygen is diffused inside into the blood, right? And then it is transported to different cells. This happens in our body, isn't it? And after reaching a cell, the target cell, right? What happens over there? This oxygen is used to oxidize the glucose. Fine. What we mean by oxidize the glucose, it means it breaks the glucose unit into carbon dioxide and the water. And this is of course a chemical change, isn't it? Glucose, right? It combines with the oxygen and then it results in the formation of the carbon dioxide molecules and the water molecules. So don't you think it is a chemical reaction? So this chemical reaction, when it occurred, definitely there is a release of energy, and this energy is used up for different purposes, right? So this is why I'm saying that all these functions that are occurring in our body, it occurs in the form of a chemical reaction. Now where this chemical reaction is going on? Inside the cell. So this is the reason why we call this cell as the functional unit of life. Is this very clear? So now the point is that who was that great person who discovered this cell? Who initially discovered that each organism is made up of cell? Whether it is a plant or it is an animal, they all are made up of cells. And this truth, this practical thing was revealed by Sir Robert Hooke. Right? So let us see what is his contribution, and then we will find out the further properties of the cells also. Right? So it was Sir Robert Hooke who actually discovered the cell, right? In 1665, he observed the slices of cork. You understand what is this cork? Cork is basically the outer dead skin of the plants. You must have seen the bark, right? Bark of the plant, and over there that outer dead part, right? It is actually known as the cork. So he just used very thin slice of this particular region, and he observed it under the magnifying glass or the magnifying device. See, in that condition, he was not having the developed microscope so as to examine the things, right? So he simply used a lens or the magnifying device so as to watch out that what is there inside these particular cork or these slices. Fine. And you know what he noticed over there? He observed that there are some partitioned boxes in them. Right. The arrangement is such that there are some compartments which are present in a very near location to each other, almost attached to each other. This was what he observed or he noticed under the magnifying device. And these boxes, to just explain that what his observation was, he said that they appeared like a honeycomb. And I know you are very much aware of this honeycomb, right? In this case, he found that some boxes, they were actually separated from the other by a wall. And since they were separated by a wall, so he just said that there are small rooms which are present in the slices. And from this particular observation, he used the term or he coined the term that is cell for each particular such box. Actually, the reason is, see, the cellulae in Latin, this word means the compartment or the box or the room. And of course, from this, he actually used the term cell so as to explain or so as to represent these boxes or the compartments. Fine. So this was his basic observation at that time. Now you might be getting confused that exactly how this comb representation or compartments, they actually appeared at that time, right? So actually I can show you this thing here, that what was the exact expression or the exact this picture that came out under the magnifying device. So the observation, we can say it was something like this. They were arranged like this. He observed that these boxes, they are present in the rows. I should say that they were arranged in the you can observe the wall made up of brick. So over there, how these bricks are arranged in a wall, something like this, isn't it? And this was the similar observation that he found in the piece of or the slice of the cork. This is just a representation I'm showing here. So in this case, these small boxes or the compartments are present which are separated from each other by the wall, right? And of course, they are enclosed units. So each such compartment, this small single box, this is actually known as the cell. And from where this cell is coming, the term is coming from the word celluli. And what this celluli actually means, it is a Latin term and it means a compartment. Thus, he just used this term to represent this particular box. Fine. I can show you the exact picture also that he noticed in that under the magnifying device. So you can just see this thing, these compartments or these boxes which are looking like some honeycomb structures. They are not the honeycomb, but rather this is the picture which Sir Robert Hooke observed under his primitive microscope or under the magnifying glass, right? And whose cells are they? They are the dead cork cells. Fine. Why these cork cells are dead? Of course, they are not living, so they are dead. But basically, they are dead so as to provide the mechanical strength to the plants. Plants, they are made up of dead as well as the living cells. But here, these type of cells, that is the cork cells, they actually provide protection to the plants. They provide mechanical stability or the mechanical strength to the plants so that they can stand erect in the harsh condition also. Fine. And more such cells are present, that means that is much more is the age of the plant. Fine. Well, nowadays, now there is a developed microscope. Fine. So, with the help of this modern microscope, we are able to understand, or we are able to observe the structure of the cell also. Through this primitive microscope, it was only revealed that a group of cells is there which is forming the basic structure of the of an organism, and it was actually observed in the plant cells or the plants. Now the point is that these small compartments, they are present, and how they are functioning, what is there inside these compartments that is able to make a particular thing alive, right? How that is maintaining the life of an organism. So that was actually further revealed out after the discovery of the of this microscope, and with this microscope we can actually understand the basic structure also. And this basic structure actually reveals out that there are different types of cells, and structure is something more and more complex. With that, I can say that when it is observed under the modern microscope, the cells, they appear like it is not only the compartments that are observed over there. See, if I give you example of onion peel, right? You know what is onion peel? Onion peel, that is a very if you open the layers of the onions, right, and then you will see there is a white thin membrane on the underskin of the layer, right? And that small thin, when we take it out and we stain it with certain dye, then we will observe that they are actually made up of different compartments, and these compartments are separated from each other through some wall. This much was observed by by Robert Hooke also, Sir Robert Hooke, isn't it? Now, besides this, what is more clear from this particular study, or this type of microscope, is that inside these particular structures or the compartments, there is another membrane here in each compartment. Fine. And this is for the onion peel, right? So we can observe these thin membrane or thin separation over there within this outer wall. Beside this, prominent dot like structure observed in each particular cell. In each compartment, such type of dotted structure, the prominent dotted structure was found. Beside that, there was the presence of this fine granulated or these scattered dotted material also. So such studies reveal that each cell is actually made up of this membrane, which is known as the cell membrane. Then it is having this dot-like structure, which was later on clarified that this is nothing but the nucleus. And this scattered granular mass which is found or observed, this is nothing but the cytoplasm. So with the help of this modern microscope, this basic thing was further revealed out, that each cell is made up of a cell membrane. Fine. The another thing what I said is the cytoplasm, and the another one is the nucleus. So it was observed not only this onion peel, it was even observed when the cheek cells were observed. How these cheek cells could be observed? See, in that case, of course, in the when you open your mouth from the inner side, you just with the help of toothpicks, we take some sample, we scratch it out over there, not so harshly, very smoothly, right? And that is then placed over the slide. It is stained with some dye, and then it is observed under the microscope. You know what is the observation in that case? In that case, this outer boundary was not over there. What was observed? What was the observation? There was only a single this thing boundary. Here there are double covering. In this case, there is a single covering, and of course the other thing present was this scattered cytoplasm and the nucleus in each cell. Um, so this particular thing, this type of observation in the onion peel and the cheek cells, what do you think? What should be the conclusion of this thing? See, onion, it is from the plant origin, right? And cheek cells, it is from the animal origin. So later it was said that each organism, whether it is from plant origin, or it is from animal origin, or it is a microorganism, each living organism is made up of cell, and this cell is having these basic parts over there. What parts? Cell membrane, cytoplasm, and the nucleus. Now, although all these things are present, but still they vary from each other. These are the common similarities in the cells, right? Later on, we should say that although they are having these type of similarities, but still there are some differences, and those differences, they are related to the number of cells, right? Number of cells of what? Number of cells which are present in an organism. Then I can say, like, it varies in the shape of the cell, right? Each cell performing a particular function, it varies from the other in terms of its shape also, right? Further, I can say that the size of the cell, this size of the cell further again varies from one type to the another. You know, this cell, it can be microscopic, that we can of course not cannot observe with the naked eyes. Besides, it can be large enough, like egg of a hen, right? That egg is also a single cell. Fine, it is a fertilized egg from which the new organism will be it will take it will be born, right? So this single egg is having a large size enough, and further I can say even the microorganism, it is made up of a single cell. So you can see the variation in the size of the cell, but each cell is of course having the cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus, and it is performing various functions in the form of a chemical reaction, right? So now let us focus on the various differences, and what type of different differences could be there in the organism in such a way. Let us just look it at. Well, these organisms, so here is a flow chart which is showing that how these organisms vary from each other. See, the organisms, they show variety in terms of its cell number, shape and size. That means what? The organisms, they vary in this way. So if it is on the basis of number of cell, so it basically means that the organisms, they are made up of cell, and the number of cell, it can be either single or it can be more than one. If it is a it is if the organism is made up of a single cell, then it is known as the unicellular organism, and if it is made up of cells more than single one, then it is known as the multicellular organism, right? So these unicellular organisms, see, in this case you can say that a single cell is there, which is capable of performing all the basic functions which are required so as to maintain the life. Now you know what are these basic functions. This you have already studied earlier, right? So what these basic functions could be? They are like, number one, respiration, right? It can be digestion, that is nutrition, taking inside the food and digesting it and extracting the energy and raw materials for the development, right? Then like circulation or the transport of various materials, isn't it? Then the movement. There are different functions which are required for the maintenance of our life. So all those functions, they are performed by a single cell, and if this is the condition, then the type of organism is known as the unicellular. A single cell is leading its life in an independent manner. Fine. Can you think of some examples? I can say more microorganisms. The best example that you can understand: amoeba, euglena. You have heard about these names, right? Like paramecium. All these are unicellular organisms. Bacteria, which is even more simpler than these amoeba and all these organisms. So they all are the unicellular organisms. And if it is a multicellular organism, then what? They are made up of many cells. Now, if they are made up of many cells, then I can say at this point that they must work together so as to maintain the life, isn't it? And so you must be knowing, you are aware of this thing, that organisms, they are made up of different tissues, different organs, and so on. And then these different structures, they are working together so as to maintain life. So in this case, you can just imagine that there is some distribution of work among the group of cells, right? And such type of distribution of work in different group of cells is known as division of labor. Let us say, for example, if there is a digestive system, then it is functioning for what purpose? It is functioning for the digestion of food material, isn't it? And if it is, let us say, circulatory system, then it is actually related to the circulation of blood in our body. And when the blood is circulated in our body, definitely it is serving as the basic method so as to transport different materials, right? Similarly, if there is a nervous system, there is the reproductive system, and so on, and each function is actually carried out by different systems, isn't it? But one thing is very important, that all these functions that are taking place here in the multicellular organisms, they are working in the coordinated manner. Now, what we mean by this coordinated manner? It is that they all are working in an interdependent way. Right? So in the multicellular organisms, the number of cells are more than one, and these cells are functioning in a very different pattern so as to maintain the life of an organism. Examples are very clear, like plants, animals, they all are multicellular organisms. Fine. Then comes the size. Now this size, it can be very small to quite a large size. The smallest cell this size means there are the cell which we cannot observe with the naked eyes, and it can be as small as 0.1 micrometer. Micrometer, you know what is this micrometer or micron? It is all, I can say, like 10 to the power 6 microns. They make a single meter, 1 meter, right? So this is the unit, like it is just zero point 0.1 micrometer. Then what should be the size? Isn't it? Then the other size, the largest size that is observed is up to few centimeters. As I gave you the example of a this egg of an egg of the hen, that is which we can observe with the naked eyes also, right? Next thing is the shape of the cell. The shape of the cell is it can be round, it can be cylindrical or cuboidal, spindle shape, branched structure, or it may be irregular in different cells. And all such type of shapes are actually related to the function of the of that particular cell. See, the size of the cell or the shape of the cell is never related to the size or the shape of an organism. It is never so. Whether it is a size or it is the shape of the cell, it is related to its function. Right. So therefore we can say this type of variety is actually supporting the different functions of these particular cells. Right. So this thing actually we will discuss in the next session, right? That what is the significance of these type of varied features in the cells, and of course that what are the peculiar properties if such type of variations are observed in an organism. Fine. So this we will continue further in the next session. Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day. We'll see you soon in the next session. Goodbye.